Okay, now
Okay.
Do I have to say good morning?
Good morning, class. Wait, if you're going to ask me to do it, good morning, class.
Good morning, class. Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Okay, this is page 36. This is letter A, bed mass. We definitely have brackets here. It's going to be done first. So I'm going to write down what I don't do first, which is that part. Now, what is the resolution? What is 12 divided by negative 4? It is a negative 3. So what are we left with? Well, I'm going to rewrite this. You don't have to, but sometimes the spacing looks weird, so I always rewrite. Now, a point on the quiz here. When there's no operation between a number and the next number, yes? Thank you. And we have now a rock star making his video debut. Thanks. Do you want me to say your name out loud?
No.
Okay. So, that's 11. Thumbs up. Next one. Clearly we have brackets to deal with. So even though this is division, that's going to hang out. Okay, negative 3. Now, inside the brackets, you have what's called nested brackets. So inside the nested brackets, this addition comes first. You've got the outer brackets, you've got inner brackets. So to be honest with you, I could have drawn this little squiggly bracket here first. So we have 2 times negative 3 plus 5. That's equal to a 2. Okay, so that was the first step. So again, some of you are just correcting your work, and some of you are like following along because you need to do it. So 2 times 2, that's equal to 4. Now, finally, the division by 4 will come into play. And look at, again, something that looks complicated ends up resolving or simplifying to a relatively straightforward answer. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Check my signs. That's 2, 2. Yep, it's 1. Good? Okay. More than a few thumbs are up. Question C. Some of these are in really small font, so I'll try and zoom in. Okay, so as I was pointing out during our check-in ticket, right, there's always a set of brackets. Now, of course, a single number on the bottom, there's nothing to do anyways. You really kind of sort of don't need those brackets, but you always have to take care of the top, then you have to do the bottom. And the fraction line, the division, this one always comes last. Okay. So what do we got here? We've got multiplying here. This is multiplying. And then we've got addition. So this is going to happen first, what I'm about to highlight. So what's hanging out? This is what's hanging out. First of all, the bottom is definitely hanging out. It's already, that's as simple as you get. A single number on the bottom, that's kind of nice. But 4 times a negative 6. 4 times a negative 6 is negative 24 plus a negative 3. Okay, so you still have the top, pardon me, not the bottom. You still have the top to do. Okay, so again, your set of invisible super brackets holds. And you got to do this addition. So this is situation B, by the way, referring to the other worksheet. A negative plus a negative just makes a bigger negative. That's 27 over 9. Negative 27 divided by, so that this equivalent, what is fractions? Fractions is division. If you prefer to write it this way, you can. I would encourage you to just accept fractions. Like, it's an unavoidable truth. You have to get really good at doing questions, solving questions, doing algebra questions in fraction form. And trust me, later on, when you do a half a billion of these in high school, you'll learn to just accept it, like it, and actually, you'll get to a point where you prefer it, because there's solving techniques like cross-multiplying that work beautifully with fractions. Anyways, negative divided by a positive is a negative. 27 divided by 9 is 3. I'm just circling the previous answers. Good? Okay, super brackets. You definitely want to put in your brackets because you want to get all of the top resolved to a bottom, or all the top resolved to one number, and all the bottom resolved to one number. So I'm actually going to just chop this out. I'm going to separate it. Okay? I'm actually going to do them separately. Okay, so the numerator and the denominator. So let's talk about the top. The top works like this. It's wrote a -9, -8. A little bit tricky on the grammar here, how the style in which the question is written. This is a subtract 22. Okay? If you wanted to take note of that, you would write subtract. Oh, I'm hating this pencil. You would write subtract because there's a big difference. Had they actually written these brackets, which I'm now going to erase, that would have changed the meaning completely. It would have been multiplied to -22, but it's not. There's no brackets there, so it definitely means subtract 22. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you got to do the multiplying first. When brackets are butted up against each other with no operation, it's definitely multiplication. Negative times a negative is a positive. 9 times 8 is 72. Now we're subtracting 22. Okay? And 72 minus 22 is 50. Now for the bottom. The bottom has -15 divided by 3 times 2. Well, this is D and M, right? This is division, multiplication. They have the same priority, so now you're forced to just go left or right. So left or right. -15 divided by 3. Negative divided by positive is a negative. 15 divided by 3 is a 5. Okay, then we're going to do what's next, which is times 2. Negative times a positive is a negative. 5 times 2 is 10. So now what are we left with? Let's just see if I can just get a different color here. Okay, so there's 50. That's the numerator, the top. There's -10. So now I'm just going to go back here where I have a little bit more space, and I'm going to write this. 50 over -10. Now that's division. So again, chop it into, you can chop it into, like, you can deal with the signs first. So this is a positive. That's a positive divided by negative. Positive divided by negative is negative. 50 over 10 is 50 divided by 10. 50 divided by 10 is 5. Okay, how are we doing? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. And if it's sideways, that's okay. This is one of those things. This is like you do reach moments in math where the only way to get better at something is you got to practice it. It's no different from having. So I'm going to do the same. Okay, brackets around everything. It's always resolve the top. Bottom. Some of you a strategy because it's easy. I'll say this again. It's easy to get lost. It's kind of the intent of some BEDMAS questions is to actually throw you off. It's to give you a curveball. Okay, the top works like this. It's just I'm recopying for now. So 2, 8 plus -3 times 4. So clearly this 2 has to hang out until these brackets are done. Inside the brackets we have addition and multiplication, so definitely addition has to wait. So -3 times a positive 4. Negative times a positive. No sign means positive. You always assume that. Negative times a positive is a negative. Oh, sorry, that's a copying error. That's supposed to be plus. My bad. Negative times a positive is a negative. 3 times 4 is 12. Let me just rewrite that because it looks crazy right now. So we've got 8 plus a negative 12. 8 plus a negative 12. You start on the number line at positive 8, and you're going to add cold. This thing is going to flip all the way past 0, and we're going to end up with below 0. So we're going to land on negative 4. By the way, it's addition where you place, some of you were doing this in the quiz and mixed up a little bit. Addition is where you play war and peace. Okay, these two are not on the same side. They fight. Who wins? The bigger absolute value, which is 12. The negatives win this war. By how much? By 4. So the answer is negative 4. Positive 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Whew, a lot of steps there at the top. The bottom, thank God the bottom is simpler. Okay, this time we just have negative divided by positive, but the integer rules are so predictable. When the signs are different, the answer is clearly negative, and 56 divided by 7 is, holy shocker, look at the top, look at the bottom. So what have we got? Well, in the end, this whole thing, this whole numerator top boiled down to a negative 8. And the bottom, bless you, boiled down to a negative 8. What's negative 8 over a negative 8? What is it, grade 8s? Yeah, it's positive 1. Am I still on camera there? Yeah, good. The key is to take your time and do one step at a time. It doesn't matter how complicated the question gets. It still boils down to one step at a time. So then what's left is, do you understand the correct order? And when it comes to all questions written in fraction form, they all deserve this extra set of invisible brackets, which I invite you to write in right at the start of the question in pencil. Just put a set of brackets around the top, set of brackets around the bottom, and understand you've got to do them separately. Flip right over. Okay. So, bed mass. Am I on camera? Yep. Bed mass. Okay, we've got subtraction, we've got multiplication. Clearly multiplication comes first. So the negative 4 and the subtraction have to hang out and wait till we're done with the multiplication. Negative times the negative is a positive. 2 times 5 is 10. So what we have is negative 4 subtract 10. Okay? So it starts out cold. You're going to take away warmth. If I were to rewrite this, as I encourage some of you to do, you can always rewrite as the addition. If this is a positive and you have subtraction, then this is called switcheroo. They can just exchange places. You can go subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative, and that would be negative 14, just like it's negative 14 here. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Do I need to just slow down and let people catch up? Okay. Next question, bed mass. We have addition. We have multiplication, but the addition will take priority because, of course, brackets. So we're going to resolve this. Negative 4 plus negative 3. Start cold, add cold, get bigger cold. Okay, start negative, add more negative, you just get a bigger negative. This is negative 7 times a negative 2. Negative times a negative, that's a positive. 7 times 2 is 14. Do you notice that I've developed a habit of attacking the signs first? I mean, I know my times table, 7 times 2 is 14. I always try to keep track of the signs first. The number one mistake is in the signs. Lots of students know their times tables, it's not an issue. So I suggest you focus on the signage. When we're, getting the right sign. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? Okay, in this case it's positive 14. Moving right along. Okay, we definitely have subtraction outside the brackets, so you got this brackets, and you got this set of brackets. They really have equal priority because they're both multiplying. So just do both multiplines and just understand that this subtraction is just going to happen last. So your subtraction sign is hanging out there. Okay, so positive 3 times a negative. Positive times a negative is a negative. 3 times 4 is 12. So far we got negative 12, subtract something. Negative times a positive is a negative. 2 times 6 is 12. Huh. This is interesting. I got subtract a negative. Can I employ what's called the tick-tick rule? If I wanted to. Could I do this? Subtracting cold is the same as adding warmth. Okay? And what is negative 12 plus a positive 12? That is a zero pair. Oakley dokley? Okay? So that works out to 0. Okay, what kind of question do we have here? We have a top and a bottom. So we definitely want to put brackets around here. Okay, we definitely want to put brackets around here. So in the top, you have a positive 2 times a negative 5. A positive times a negative is a negative. 2 times 5 is 10. So, boy, that was relatively simple. Okay, bottom. Okay, negative 15 plus 10. So it starts off at minus 15. The first number is always your starting number. This is where you are on the number line, or your temperature scale. It starts off at minus 15. It warms up by 10 degrees. Is it enough to go above 0? Are we above 0 degrees Celsius here?
Yeah.
No, we're not. Right? This wasn't enough to warm it up past 0. In other words, we're at negative 5. So, what's the result of this? Well, the top says, we just said, has negative 10 or negative 5. What is a negative divided by a negative? What happens when the signs are the same on division? Positive. What's 10 divided by 5? 2. Yabba dabba do. Okay, level 2. Yeah. When Miss Williams wrote this last year, okay, where this is called scaffolding. This is like taking the staircase. That's about as easy as it gets in grade 8. Okay, level 2. Basically, the levels just mean more numbers. You notice, because it's actually not in the grade 8 curriculum, even though I know that we've given you some practice on it. It's not really in the grade 8 curriculum to have exponents. I don't know why. Maybe they just want to keep it straightforward. So even though it's bed mass, it's really going to be lidmas, or however you delete an E. Okay, so level 2. Clearly, we have some brackets going on here. Okay? And inside these brackets, you have inner brackets. So you've got what's called nested brackets. Nested brackets. Let's do this one. So negative times a negative is a positive. This is a positive 6. We still have the square brackets. We're only taking care of these round parentheses, I guess is the right term. Okay, so we just got 6 plus 5. That's just regular adding. So 6 plus 5 is 11, plus a negative 5. We're adding, but we're adding cold. We're adding debt. So is this answer 16 or is it positive 6? Positive 16 or positive 6? Which is it? Positive 6 or positive 16? Nobody wants to vote. And now the television host is feeling lost and lonely. It's positive 6. Yes? It's not 16. If I wanted 16, it would have been 11 plus 5. Okay, yes? I need more thumbs than that, my friends. Okay. Okay, level 2. Okay. Clearly we have brackets here, so what do? You should write all the stuff you're not dealing with. And I'm just going to momentarily pause. Okay, do you understand why I wrote it this way? Just give me a thumbs up. Sometimes it's helpful to write down the stuff first that you're not dealing with. Okay. What do we got here? Multiplication. Negative times a negative. Positive. 4 times 2 is 8. Now again, because I brought down this, the only disadvantage of doing it my way is that sometimes it looks awkward, so I like to rewrite it, just so everything is nice and close together and spaced in a manner that I can understand. This is addition, that's division. Definitely division wins that fight in terms of priority. So now the negative 10 is hanging out again. And 8 divided by negative 2, a positive divided by a negative, is a positive 4. Now you have negative 10 plus 4. Negative 10 plus 4. Okay, so it's cold. We're going to warm up a little bit, but adding 4 degrees of warmth is not going to overcome that we started at negative 10, so we're stuck at negative 6. Capiche? Middle row, can I get a little feedback? Because the back row is doing great and the front row is doing good. Okay, it's negative 6. Okay, I'm going to finish this page and then we're done. And then I'll give you the rest of the class to do what you need to do. Okay, 3 plus, subtract 2. Ignore what you're not doing. Now here inside you've got two things that are equal priority. Multiplication and division are an exact tie. So what's the default? Left to right. Okay, so we're going left to right. All right, so left to right means this. 8 times 2 is 16, divided by a negative 4. A positive 16, positive divided by negative. Attack the signs first. Deal with the signs first. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now, of course, the spacing on that looks a little crazy. So let me glue everything back together again. Now watch. So it's 3 plus superscript, because I taught you that today, negative 4 minus normal dash hyphen, whatever you want to call it. That would be a good way to write it. And in fact, you kind of might want to highlight that step. And if it makes you feel better, if you want to do the enclosure brackets, even though they weren't part of the original thing, if writing the brackets around that negative 4, if that makes you feel better, by all means do it. I 1,000,000,000% will mark that correct. It's up to you. Okay. Positive 3 plus a negative 4. That's a fight. The negatives win. The negatives win by 1. Sam wants to be a YouTube star. Love it. Subtract 2. Negative 1, subtract 2. Who says positive 1? Who says negative 3? Oh, yeah, it's negative 3. This is the one that trips people up. Yes? Okay. Mr. Smith has been slapped on the wrist by the students that are clearly smarter than he is, and now we're going to fix an error made in the previous question. 8 divided by a negative 2 is a negative 4. So, holy capicoli, negative 10 plus a negative 4. Should have we said negative 14? Yes? Yeah. It's always nice to have the brave student who's willing to say, Mr. Smith, you're full of the brown smelly stuff that comes out of the rear end of a bowl. Did I say that live on camera? I don't know. I always like it when the students applaud. Okay. So the multiplication is definitely going to happen last, right? Definitely going to happen last. All right, 20 minus 17. So by the way, addition, subtraction and addition just go left to right. They're equal priority. And now you don't have to break it down to micro steps. You can just do this. 20 minus 17 is 3 plus 2, that's 5. Carry down the multiplication. 16 minus 6 is 10 minus 12, negative 2. Now, do we approve of that before I record this? Okay. 5 times the negative 2. Positive 5 times the negative 2 is negative 10. How do we do, grade 8s? Can I give myself a 9 out of 10? One little mistake? Can you guys give yourself a 10 out of 10? All right.